Okay, the next thing that I want to do is I want to get our colors set up for our layout. I'm not sure if we're going to use all the colors that we define, but we'll get them defined here. It'll only take a few minutes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop over to the swatches panel there on the right-hand side. You might have to head to your window menu to use your swatches panel. Look for swatches there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and create some new swatches, 3 new colors. So just click on the little page icon there down at the bottom of the swatches palette, new swatch. That'll bring you into the new swatch dialog box. And for the swatch name, I'm going to call this, very creative here, dark blue. That's it. It's going to be a process color. So make sure that color type is set to process color. Color mode, here's where Jeff derails, because we are not creating a print document. Obviously, we're creating something that's going to be viewed on screen. We already mentioned that in the previous lesson. But for whatever bizarre reason, my brain works in CMYK. It just, that color space just works for me. I think in CMYK. I can't mix colors to save my life in RGB, but I can mix colors no problem using CMYK. So bear with me here. I'm going to use CMYK, and I'm going to give you some CMYK values for each color that we define here. So again, hopefully this won't take too long. So here we go, the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black values. I'm starting off inside cyan here. Of course, you can use your sliders here, and you can go and mix a color, whatever you want there. But I'm just going to type in values here. So 98, and then I'll hit Tab to move my cursor down to the next text field there. And I'll type in 84 and 46 after I hit Tab again, and then Tab one more time, and I'm going to go 51. So we have 98, 84, 46, and 51. Okay? There we go. So it's a pretty dark blue there. So go ahead and click on OK. That's just fine. And there's our new color. If I hover my mouse over top of them there, we get that little tooltip telling us the name of the color. And just to keep our colors together, what we'll probably wind up doing is creating a new color group. But for now, I'm just going to drag this guy down so that he's the very last swatch, so that I don't lose him, you know, in my swatches here. So I just click and drag him down to the end of the swatches there. There we go. So that's one. Let's go and do another guy here, another new color. So once again, new swatch there down in the bottom of the swatches panel. Basically the same story. So I'm going to give him a name here. This guy, we already did dark blue, so now we're going to do mid blue. And it's going to be a process color, and again, CMYK. And I will go and throw in my values here. So again, I'm just going to use Tab here to move myself around here. So I'm going to go 97 and then Tab and 78, Tab, 39, Tab, and 29. There we go. And again, sort of a mid blue there is what we're after. Okay, great. Go ahead and click on OK. All right, we should now get that guy added to our swatches panel, which is great, fabulous. Let's go and do one more. You guessed it, this guy is going to be light blue. Light blue, and really the same story. CMYK for the color mode there. Here's our values, the CMYK values that we'll use for this guy. So 60, 24, and 1, and 0. There we go. So again, there we are. A nice light blue there, and then click on OK. Awesome. So there's our 3 new colors there defined for us inside the swatches panel. If you don't know, by the way, the swatches that you define in Illustrator get saved with the file. So once I save and close out of this file and I start a new Illustrator file, I won't have these swatches available. Of course, I could go and import them if I wanted to. Now, I think maybe what I'll do is I'll create a new color group for these guys. I'm trying to remember exactly how to create color groups. I think there's a fast way to do this. I'm just going to try this sort of off the cuff here. I just used Shift there to select my 3 new colors, and then I'll click on New Color Group, and you can give this a name if you want. I'll call this Jeff's Colors, whatever you want there, and then OK. Awesome. There, it worked. There. So there's our 3 new colors now inside a new color group for us. Awesome stuff. So now we have those colors defined. Now we can actually start using them inside our layout, which is great. And by the way, I just want to mention something really quickly, just while I think of it. Again, I don't know if you're like me or not. I don't know if your brain only thinks in CMYK or if it can think in hexadecimal or RGB or whatever. But again, I prefer working in CMYK. It makes sense to me. It's an additive color space. It works. So sometimes I'll be inside the color panel and I'll be mixing new colors, just using the sliders or throwing values in. But again, the RGB, the red, green, and blue sliders don't really happen for me. They don't really work for me. So what I'll do is from the panel menu in the top right corner, I'll switch my sliders from RGB sliders to CMYK sliders. All right, now I know what I'm doing. Now I have something that I understand and I can work with it, right? Something like this. But what I want to mention is that we have not changed, even though we've changed the sliders inside the color panel from RGB to CMYK, we have not changed the color space that our Illustrator file is currently in. If you look up on your title bar there's the name of our file, there's the zoom, and there's the color space RGB. Or I could go File and then down to Document Color Mode, and I'm still inside RGB. Remember, we set that in the previous exercise when we set up our document, right? So in other words, you can work with your CMYK sliders if you like. If you're like me and you only think in CMYK, that's great. But you're not changing the color space of your document, which is really cool. So whatever you choose from the color panel menu, top right corner there, whatever you decide to use inside the color panel has no effect on the document's color space.